हरे बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी महारानी की हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु एंड गौरांग ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16, verse number 26 and 27. The purport for verse 26 is a little short, so we'll cover both the verses today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam ततो जयम उदीरयेत नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। So we'll start with verse number 26. तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति विश्रुत विक्रमः श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथु पराक्रमः। तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति विश्रुत विक्रमः श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथु पराक्रमः। तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति विश्रुत विक्रमः श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथु पराक्रमः। तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति विश्रुत विक्रमः श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथु पराक्रमः। तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथु पराक्रमः। तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति विश्रुत विक्रमः श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथुपराक्रमः तत्र तत्र गिरस्तास्ता इति विश्रुतविक्रमः श्रोष्यत्यात्माश्रिता गाथाः पृथुः पृथुपराक्रमः. Tatra tatra, here and there. Giraha, words. Taha taha, many, various. Iti, thus. Vishruta vikramaha, he whose chivalrous activities are widely reputed. Shroshyati, will hear. Atma ashritaha, about himself. Gathaha, songs, narrations. Prithuhu, King Prithu. Prithu Parakramaha, distinctly powerful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Prithu come to be known to the people in general, King Prithu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. Purport: to artificially advertise oneself and thus enjoy a so-called reputation is a kind of conceit. Prithu Maharaj was famous amongst the people because of his chivalrous activities. He did not have to advertise himself artificially. One's factual reputation cannot be covered. Because there is a time restriction, I'll quickly cover the 27th verse. Disho vijitya pratiruddha chakraha swatejasopartita lokashalyaha sura surendre rupagiyamana mahanubhavo bhavita patirbhuvaha. Translation: no one will be able to disobey the orders of Prithu Maharaj. After conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of the citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both the Suras and the Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Purport: at the time of Maharaj Prithu, the world was ruled by one emperor, although there were many subordinate states. Just as there are many United States in various parts of the world, in olden days, the entire world was ruled through many states. But there was a supreme emperor who ruled over all subsidiary states. As soon as there were some discrepancies in the maintenance of the Varnashram system, the emperor would immediately take charge of the small states. The word Utpartita Lokashalyaha indicates that Maharaj Prithu completely uprooted all the miseries of his citizens. The word Shalya means piercing thorns. There are many kinds of miserable thorns that pierce the citizens of a state, but all competent rulers, even up to the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, uprooted all the miserable conditions of the citizens. It is stated that during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, there did not even exist severe cold or scorching heat, nor did the citizens suffer from any kind of mental anxiety. This is the standard of good government. Such a peaceful and prosperous government, devoid of anxiety, was established by Prithu Maharaj. Thus, the inhabitants of both saintly and demoniac planets were all engaged in glorifying the activities of Maharaj Prithu. Persons or nations anxious to spread their influence all over the world should consider this point. If one is able to eradicate completely the threefold miseries of the citizens, he should aspire to rule the world. One should not aspire to rule for any political or diplomatic consideration. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Praise of King Prithu by the professional reciters. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Kiram Yat Kripatam Hamade Shri Garoti Nataranam Paramanati Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwar Hare Krishna. So before I begin with the lecture, I would like to seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas sitting here. This is my very first time giving a Srimad Bhagavatam class, so I need your blessings and your mercy so that I can glorify Srila Prabhupada and do some service. So we are talking about the prowess, the qualities and the chivalry of Prithu Maharaj in this context. Now a very important word is tatra tatra. It means that wherever Prithu Maharaj went, his glories would come to be known to the people and then they would glorify him. So it's not like Prithu Maharaj is the king of a particular state, a country, or even a continent. He is ruling all the Varshas, not just Bharat Varsha. He is ruling practically the entire material world, except for the abode of Lord Brahma. So wherever Prithu Maharaj would go, his activities, his chivalry, his piety, his virtues, people would come to know about them and then they would glorify them. Nowadays we see if somebody becomes the prime minister or president of a country, or even if somebody becomes the leader of a local group, they become very arrogant. Before responsibility comes on their threshold, arrogance kicks in. And because of that arrogance, they get so much of praise from everywhere. But that praise is not out of respect. That is the kind of praise only a materialist would get. But here we have Prithu Maharaj, who does not even have to advertise himself. He just performs his prescribed duties and his glories are getting resonated everywhere. So Prithu Maharaj, we know that Prithu Maharaj is the Shaktyavesh avatar of Lord Vishnu. He is the empowered incarnation. We know the story behind why Prithu Maharaj appeared, because his predecessor, King Vena, was not a good king. And so the sages, the Brahmanas, they extracted Prithu Maharaj from the body of King Vena and they declared that this person, he is the Shaktyavesh avatar of Lord Vishnu. So if somebody is an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu, because we have one more example, that's Lord Vedvyas. Lord Vedvyas is also the Shaktyavesh avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So being the direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Prithu is equipped with all kinds of good qualities, all kinds of virtues, all kinds of piety one can think of. But he does not advertise these qualities. That's one thing we need to understand. In fact, in the last chapter, in chapter 15, when the Brahmanas are glorifying him, they are singing stutis in praise of him because he is the incarnation. He tells them, Tasmat parokshe smadupashrutanyalam karishyatha stotram apichya vachaha satyuttama shloke gunanuvade jugupsitam na stavayanti sabhyaha. He says that, why are you glorifying me for qualities which have not even manifested? Please do this glorification in future, if at all these qualities they manifest inside someone like me. And then he says something very important, which is a very big learning for all of us. He said, Satyuttama shloka gunanuvade jugupsitam na stavayanti sabhya. That the people who sing the glories, the gentle brahmanas, the sages who sing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they do not attribute these qualities, these praises to a human being who does not possess them. He calls himself Jugupsitam, abominable. The accurate translation for Jugupsitam in Sanskrit would be abominable. Now that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is completely full in the 6 opulences, who has the 6 opulences in full capacity, his incarnation is saying that I do not possess these qualities, and if at all I possess them in the future, let the glorification delay for that period of time, because I am an abominable being. So this is the biggest quality of a pure soul. This is the biggest characteristic. This is the way to identify someone, that they do not advertise themselves as someone or something that they are not. Rather, I should say that the pure devotees of the Lord, they do not consider that they have any good qualities at all. There is a very beautiful song written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gopinath Mama Nivedana Shuno. The first line of that song goes something like this: Gopinath Mama Nivedana Shuno, Vishay Durjan, Sada Kamarath, Kichu Nahi Moraguna. Vishay Durjan, I'm a wicked materialist. Sada Kamarath, I'm always thinking about worldly desires. Kichu Nahi Moraguna, I have no good qualities at all. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's eternally serving Srimati Radharani as Kamal Manjari, he's calling himself a wicked materialist. He's saying, I'm always thinking about sense gratification and I have no good qualities at all. So this is one of the biggest learnings for us, that if we at all acquire some skill, if we at all learn something which is not very simple, we should consider it the mercy of the Vaishnavas and Krishna, that they have bestowed upon me this unique thing. Now, how can I use it in Krishna's service? And this is exactly what Prithu Maharaj did. Prithu Maharaj, after annexing power, he did not use it for his sense gratification. In the next verse, it says, Disho vijitya pratiruddha chakraha. All the directions. He has conquered all the directions. There is nobody who can disobey his orders. You can imagine, if somebody just becomes the leader of a local group, everybody is subordinate to him. And the first thing that would come in his mind, if he's not a Krishna conscious leader, is that how can I exploit these people? Whereas Prithu Maharaj, being the incarnation of God himself, what he did not use that power, he did not use those facilities for his own sense gratification. He used them to uproot the threefold miseries of everyone. Now, nowadays we see that there are many celebrities, politicians, social media influencers, and for that matter, even people in the general folk. They are so much accustomed to sense gratification that they will intentionally orchestrate events and situations where people will come and praise them. Things like Samman Samaroh. Some leader under the direction, some disciples under the direction of their leader, they will organize these events where people will come, they will say good things about him, he will get an ego boost. And that's how things go about in the material world. You pat my back, I'll pat yours. Especially on social media, we see that people, they will intentionally post certain pictures or certain kind of posts, certain kinds of written material, which their intention is not to do any kind of value addition in someone's life. They're not doing that activity with the thought that, okay, I should share this knowledge. No, their sole objective is that somebody should notice this, it should provoke somebody's attention, and then they will say good things about me. They will say good things about me right now, on social media, and then when I will meet them in person, they will again glorify me. So we can see how this circle is going on. I will appreciate you, you appreciate me, we will gratify each other's senses. This is how things go about. But as far as Prithu Maharaj is concerned, he never advertised himself. Everyone came to know about his glories by themselves. On the contrary, people nowadays, they have to speak about their glories. They have to tell, okay, this is what I do, this is what I know, right? And even if they glorify themselves, there are two things. The people to whom they are glorifying themselves, either they will praise them, but it will wear off, or they will not get any kind of praise at all. There is a very funny quotation in Hindi. It's called Pratishtha Bechari Sada Kumari, which means fame is like an unmarried girl. So if somebody wants to marry a girl who's unmarried and he's very obsessed, he goes to her house and he's like, okay, I want you, I want to marry you. She's not interested. She's instantly put off. But if out of all the people who want to marry her, there comes someone who says, I don't want to marry you. I'm not interested in you. So much so that I don't even want to look at you. Then she instantly becomes curious. Oh, why is this person not willing to marry me? You know, there's so many people, they're running after me, and this person, he doesn't even want me. I'm curious, now I have to follow him. So she follows him everywhere. So this is exactly how fame is. It is like an unmarried girl. It goes wherever it's unwanted. Srila Prabhupada mentions a very important sentence. One's factual reputation cannot be covered. Now this is applicable both ways. If you are a bundle of good qualities, all virtues, all piety, but you stay grounded, you stay humble, and you don't project your skills, your qualities in front of people, in the due course of time, it will be revealed somehow. And at the same time, if you are a bundle of all kinds of ills, all kinds of miserable activities, but you portray yourself to be very knowledgeable, very scholarly, very gentle, very respectful towards people, even that reality will be revealed in the due course of time. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very beautiful verse in which the demigods are glorifying Krishna. They say, Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Yonem Nihitam Cha Satye Satyasya Satyam Rita Satya Netram Satyatmakam Tuam Sharanam Prapanna. And in the translation of that verse, Prabhupada mentions that unless somebody is completely truthful, they cannot have the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is therefore not given to people who are hypocrites. Now, I'm not sure if any one of you have been following the recent controversy that took place in a comedy show in India, where a very popular YouTuber and a person who shoots a lot of spiritual podcasts, he has invited a lot of well-renowned spiritual personalities, even a lot of personalities from ISKCON. He made a very obnoxious and pathetic comment on that show. And as soon as he made that comment, just a few hours after him doing that, his image, the kind of image people had of him in his mind, in their minds, it got destroyed instantly. So just a day back, he was this youth icon. Everyone looked up to him. Oh, he's such a good guy. He's bringing people towards spirituality. He's doing so many spiritual podcasts. He's himself so spiritual. But that one comment destroyed his image like anything. And why did this happen? Because he advertised himself to be someone he's not. He advertised himself to be a very pious, very spiritual flag bearer of Sanatan Dharma. But the reality of that person was revealed through him only. And Krishna ensures it. I'm remembering a very beautiful pastime of Shri Madhvendra Puripad when he was traveling to Jagannath Puri to get sandalwood paste for his deity Gopal that he had discovered in Govardhan. So there is a place called Remuna on the way to Jagannath Puri. And while passing that place, Remuna, he came across the temple of Gopinath. And he saw that the main pujari, he was preparing an offering for Gopinath, which it was kept in separate pots. That offering is called Amrit Kshira. We call it Kheer in Hindi normally, but because of Bengali, the Ksha becomes Kha. So the Amrit Kshira was being prepared by the pujari. And Sri Madhvendra Puri, he was just staring at the pujari and he was thinking, only if I could taste a little bit of this Amrit Kshira, then I would go back home to Govardhan and I would prepare this for my deity. Because if any one of you know the backstory, the deity of Gopal was stranded in the jungles of Govardhan and they had to extract him. All the residents, they had to extract him after he appeared in Sri Madhvendra Puri Pad's dream. So he said he must have been hungry for so many days and I just want to taste little bit so that I can go home and prepare it. But instantly, after he thought this, he chastised himself. He said that, how fallen and wretched am I? This offering has not even been offered to Gopinath yet. And I'm thinking of having it. I'm thinking of tasting it. I must be a very fallen person. So he went in a different direction. But the very same night, when the pujari, he closed the altar, he went back home, went to sleep, Gopinath appeared in his dream. And he said that you had prepared 12 pots of Amrit Kshira. I have stolen one of them. And one of my purest devotees, Madhvendra Puri, he's in Remuna right now. And I want you to give this stolen pot of Amrit Kshira to him tomorrow. Now the pujari, he was astonished that who is this pure devotee, who is this transcendental being who has stepped into Remuna for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is stealing a pot of kheer. So the very next day, he opened the altar and he noticed that there were only 11 pots in the main altar. So Gopinath had given him the 12th pot, the one he had stolen. Then Pujari, he went out of the main altar and he began screaming, "Who is Madhvendra Puri? Madhvendra Puri, please come, please come. The Lord has stolen a pot of Shira for you." And Madhvendra Puri, he heard him and he came running and he's like, "Yes, how can I serve?" He said, "Do you know, Gopinath, he has stolen a pot of Shira for you. This is for you." And after hearing this, Madhvendra Puri was in ecstasy. He thought to himself, "Wow, I'm such a fallen guy, and for me, the Lord himself has stolen a pot of kheer." So what Madhvendra Puri would do is, he would eat the Amrit Kshira and then he would crush the pot so that the clay of the pot itself mixes with the remains of the Kshira, and he would eat that clay as well. That this was touched by Gopinath. If this was touched by Gopinath, I should have all of it. After finishing the Kshira, he realized that if anybody else comes to know about what has happened, then this is not going to turn out good for me. I don't want this kind of praise. I don't want this kind of glory, because the pujari, he would go on and tell everyone about it, that there is a pure devotee in Remuna for whom the God himself has stolen a pot of Shira. So what Madhvendra Puri did, he left Remuna the same day with the fear that if people get to know, they're going to come and glorify me, and glorification is not for me. And he proceeded towards Jagannath Puri. But Krishna is so wonderful that before Sri Madhvendra Puri could reach Jagannath Puri, this news reached Jagannath Puri before he could. So, Pratishtha Bechari Sada Kumari. Fame is like an unmarried woman. She follows that path where she's not wanted. Now, we're talking about good qualities, we're talking about virtues, we're talking about piety. But where does all this piety, good qualities, all this come from? Somebody may ask that, okay, I want to have good qualities. How can I develop good qualities? How can I become like pure devotees? I don't have any good qualities at the moment. There is a very beautiful formula in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, chapter 18, verse 12. It says, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarver guner tatra samasate suraha harav bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathe nasati dhavato bahi. That all the good qualities like knowledge, renunciation and wealth, they all manifest naturally in a person who has unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas a person who is engaged in maintaining his family, his relatives, he's doing all sorts of other activities which people might think to be very great. How can that person have any good qualities? Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna. How can that person have any good qualities who is not engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord? Whereas, how can a person who is surrendered to the Supreme Lord not have any good qualities? All the good qualities and virtues will naturally manifest in him. If at all somebody says, I know Bhagavat, I know Bhagavad Gita, I know everything, but I'm still not able to inculcate good qualities. In that case, the simplest solution is that you go in front of Krishna and you weep. You weep in front of Krishna. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in one of his songs, he says, Patita Pavana hetu tava avatar, mosama patita prabhu na pai bear. That you came in this world to deliver the fallen, but I can guarantee you that there is nobody more fallen than me. Mosama patita na pai bear. You should weep in front of Krishna that knowingly I have drunk this poison, janiya shuniya vishkhaya. I knew that this was not good for me. I knew what was your message in Bhagavad Gita, but still I drank this poison. And I am so fallen. But if you want my deliverance at all, then nobody can stop it. So this is pretty much how we can at least try to develop the good qualities from which we are very far away, in my opinion, right now. So, as I was discussing that Prithu Maharaj, after he annexed power, after he became Digvijayi, his very first activity was that he uprooted the threefold miseries of his citizens. And Srila Prabhupada mentions very importantly in the purport, that only someone who can uproot the threefold miseries of the citizens, that person should aspire to rule the world. This is the qualification for somebody who wants to become world ruler. And Prithu Maharaj had this quality, being the direct incarnation. In fact, he was so pious that he chastised the earth planet. When she retracted all of her resources because of the activities of the previous king, Prithu Maharaj, when he appeared, he chastised the earth personified as a cow. And it was all because of the purity that he had inside. That purity and that piety, it reflected on the outside. Can we chastise the earth? No, definitely not. Somebody needs to have a very grave amount of virtues and piety to be able to do that. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can do something like that. There is a very interesting thing that happened with Sri Radhanath Maharaj. Somebody asked him that, you Hare Krishna people, you guys are always engaged in chanting, dancing, distributing books, distributing prasadam. Do you even know what's going on in the environment? Do you even know there are practically no forests left? There are so many chemical affluents which have intoxicated the rivers. There is such a great ecological imbalance. What are you guys doing about this? You guys claim to be peacemakers. You guys claim to uproot the miseries of the entire world. Are these not part of your agenda? And Srila Radhanath Maharaj, he said a very beautiful thing. He said, we focus on inner ecology. If I'm ecologically balanced on the inside, that is what I'm going to reflect on the outer world. If there is no inner transformation, there is no hope for outer transformation at all. If I am pure, if I am virtuous, if I know what has to be done, if I have gone through the change which I want to see in the world, then I will make sure that happens. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, be the change you want to see in the world. Any kind of reformation should begin at home. And Radhanath Maharaj very beautifully replied that devotees, they do ensure that none of these resources which are within our capacity of influence, they get depleted or intoxicated. Because every resource is a property of Krishna. And once we come to this understanding that every resource is a property of Krishna, and I am not the one who's going to exploit it, I can only use it in Krishna's service, use it in the service of Vaishnavas, then the outer ecology will also come to a balance. The verse mentions that Sura Surendrer Upagiyamana. The Suras and the Asuras, they were both engaged in glorification of Prithu Maharaj. How often does this happen? Now somebody might say that you're saying Prithu Maharaj is so powerful, Prithu Maharaj is so competent. So was Hiranyakashipu, so was Ravana. Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were the most powerful beings of their times. In fact, there is a record in which they say that when Hiranyakashipu, even if he would just slantingly look upwards towards the heavenly planets, the demigods, they would tremble in fear. They would instantly come down and they would start serving him. Ravana, he had all the 9 planets prostrated in his court, and he would step on their heads every time he would try and go and sit on his throne. So what is the difference between Prithu Maharaj and what is the difference between Hiranyakashipu and Ravana? Because they had also conquered the entire world. He's also done the same thing. But the difference is that the Suras and Asuras, they were glorifying Ravana and Hiranyakashipu out of fear. They knew that if we don't serve this guy, he will kill us. But Prithu Maharaj is being glorified out of respect, out of admiration, out of regard. And the reason why this is happening is because his reign, his rule is based on dharma. If the foundation of anybody's rule is dharma, then that reign can flourish. Governments, nations whose leaders are materialists, who are always engaged in exploitation and sense gratification, they might live for a particular time period, but they cannot last. And we have witnessed this happening with so many kingdoms, the Mughal Empire, the reign of Adolf Hitler, the tyrants like Joseph Stalin. They pretended to be social reformers, they pretended to be leaders, they pretended that they cared so much for their people. But at the very core, they were just sense gratificatory demons who wanted to exploit their own followers. And thus, they did not last. So unless the ruler's reign is not based on dharma, they cannot deliver any kind of person from any kind of suffering. There are some leaders, there are some politicians, before elections and voting, they donate freebies, a lot of free stuff, laptops, mobile phones, refrigerators. And their hope is that if we donate a lot of freebies to these people, they will go crazy, they will take all these freebies and we'll get all the votes. And they're absolutely right. This is exactly what happens. Before any kind of election, they would donate some freebies and they have secured their votes. Srila Prabhupada used to say, the modern civilization is the civilization of cheaters and cheated. The cheaters, they keep on cheating, and the cheated, they like to be cheated. So we are cheated, and the problem is, we like to be cheated over and over again. One particular leader, he has already betrayed us, he has already made false promises. We're going to elect him again, because now he's going to give us some different kind of laddu that we did not get last time. So Some leaders make false promises, and there are some categories of leaders, they just don't acknowledge that there are any miseries in this world. They're like, no, this is all illusion of your mind. Everything is going great. And that is very much in conjunction with our philosophy that, yeah, there is an illusory force, but they're not using it correctly. They're saying that because they are not facing any problems. They are not having any kind of sufferings. So no kind of freebies, no kind of false promises can uproot the miseries of anyone. Only when you have a Krishna conscious leader, only when somebody is following the Vedic injunctions, they become qualified to uproot the miseries of anyone and everyone for that matter. And I think Srila Prabhupada is the prime example. He uprooted the threefold miseries of everyone, and he did not give any kind of freebies. He went to the US with just few copies of Srimad Bhagavatam and his divine knowledge. That's it. He did not have to entice them into doing something for him. His purity resonated with them. He was on a transcendental platform and they were all tamasic beings. But still, when you come in touch with purity, you also start the purification process. So, leaders who rule according to Vedic injunctions, they are awarded bala, strength by Krishna. In the 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam. That I am the strength in those personalities who are devoid of passion and desire, which we don't get to see nowadays. All the leaders, all the politicians, pretty much all the governments, they are driven by some kind of passion and desire in them. Who is thinking about doing welfare for their people? They just want to invent new ways to exploit them. So Krishna becomes the strength. Krishna becomes the power of the person who wants to do good for people and who is devoid of any kind of passion and desire. And is it just the physical strength? No. Krishna provides mental, spiritual, and physical strength. All kinds of strength necessary. Because there is a saying in Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is most favored by that person who takes the suffering of others to make them suffer less. And so I think that all the world leaders and politicians and anyone who wants to take up a leadership role, they should follow the footsteps of Prithu Maharaj and make themselves Krishna conscious first so that their purity can resonate with others. With this, I'd like to conclude my session. Any questions and feedbacks? Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think, Prabhu, the biggest reason why we like to be cheated is because this is the very propensity under the influence of Maya. When we are under the influence of Maya, when we are not able to see beyond the illusory force, we like to be cheated over and over again. If somebody offers us something and we accept it to be true, then after a while we'll realize that, okay, this was actually a pretense. He has cheated me. But we don't learn from that lesson. The reason why we don't learn from that lesson is because our divine knowledge is dormant inside. Unless the divine knowledge of a person is dormant, they cannot make the distinction between who is a cheater or who is actually doing welfare for them. It's like in Srimad Bhagavatam when Parikshit Maharaj inquires in the 6th canto that what is the way of deliverance for people who are highly sinful. So he says that it's, people, they go through atonement, but it's like the elephant who's taking a shower. The elephant goes inside the pond, he'll take a shower, he'll come back, then he'll throw the sand on him again. And then Shukadev Goswami says that unless somebody has awakened their dormant Krishna consciousness, that dormant divine knowledge, they will again perform sinful activities. They will again like to get cheated, and the only solution is to actually get that divine knowledge. Anyone else? Hmm. Right. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. No, no, no. That makes sense, Prabhuji. One more point, Prabhu. Uh, Under the influence of Maya, we have this thing called Sukh Buddhi. Sukh Buddhi means we believe that this thing is going to give me happiness. Now we have invested our Sukh Buddhi into multiple domains, and we don't know how to retract that Sukh Buddhi. Unless that Sukh Buddhi remains in those sense objects, we cannot make any distinction between what is right and wrong. And somebody who knows how to exploit this bad quality of us, they will cheat us over and over again. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.